Il y a beaucoup de voleurs, beaucoup.
So one thing to look at in terms of the shots in this scene is how when each of these three men give their opinions, which are all different, we see the camera just focus on that person giving their idea, which kind of makes it feel like the camera is focusing in on the person and their ideas when they're giving them.
Beaucoup d'espèces. Une variété infinie. Tous les vols ne sont pas aussi graves.
So we see here that the inspector believes that all theft is crime. And then we see the protagonist's friend, Jacques, saying, well, not all theft is so serious. But as we'll see here,
Certains sont excusables. Si c'est la pauvreté.
this excuse of poverty is really something that Kierkegaard would, I think, refer to as the universal ethical, which is that he's basically giving this, he's using a universal conception of ethics to justify theft, but it's something that other people can understand. That, oh well, you know, this person is in poverty. They need to steal to eat. This is a more conventionally ethical explanation for why people thieve. But we'll see that the protagonist gives a different one.
Pauvreté qui vous pousse. Bien sûr. Est-ce qu'on ne peut pas imaginer des vols sur lesquels on fermerait les yeux? Il y a toute une théorie là-dessus.
Interesting there how we don't get a response from the inspector, which kind of indicates that no, he doesn't think you can turn a blind eye, which kind of situates his position on the matter as being all crimes must be punished.
Moi? Dites. Elle n'est pas neuve. Dites quand même. Eh bien, puisqu'on ne peut pas admettre que des hommes capables, intelligents, et à plus forte raison doués de talent ou même de génie, donc indispensables à la société, au lieu de végéter toute leur vie, soient dans certains cas libres de désobéir aux lois.
So here we have Michel giving his idea of morality, and he doesn't view ethics as sort of this teleological thing that perhaps the inspector views it as, where all crime is bad, all crime ought to be punished, but rather he explains that no, society's values are really created for the benefit of society. They're designed so that society functions well. But as we'll see, he would the protagonist would disagree that it actually functions well that way.
Ça me paraît difficile et dangereux. Pour la société, ce serait tout bénéfice. Et qui distinguera des autres ces hommes supérieurs? Eux-mêmes, leur conscience.
So there, I think we have a very clear reference to Nietzsche's Übermensch, or Superman, or Overman. And I think this is really the philosophy that is sort of embodied, or at least carried through the protagonist, Michel. But it seems like we will get a critique of this idea. But this idea that, you know, society's values are in place for the benefit of society, but some people are able to realize themselves through their own conscience that they don't necessarily need to follow those rules. And it might be even beneficial, as the protagonist says, that we actually break out of this and that we can realize ourselves that we should be creating the values that each individual one of us lives by, rather than submitting to society's definition of what's right or wrong. In this case, they're using pickpocketing as the measure or the method to judge whether or not something is ethical or not.
Connaissez-vous quelqu'un qui ne se prenne pas pour un homme supérieur? Rassurez-vous, ce ne serait que pour les premiers pas. Après, on s'arrête. On ne s'arrête pas, je vous le dis.
And here we have a final sort of meta comment talking about how the protagonist says, oh, well, you know, they'll eventually stop. But this is kind of ironic because later in the film, he does not stop pickpocketing. He keeps going until it gets him in jail. So kind of an ironic comment on the plot.
Une sorte de voleur utile, en somme, bienfaisant. Cher monsieur, c'est le monde à l'envers. Puisqu'il est déjà à l'envers, ça risque de le remettre à l'endroit.
There, that's also, I think, a very Nietzschean idea that, people would be at first afraid of the Ubermensch, kind of defying all standards, just as, they were afraid and maybe brought into anguish by the death of God. But now we see this character, our lead character, Michelle, saying, no, the world is actually already upside down. It's already messed up. And the Superman could actually set it right.